This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly entertainment podcast where this week we are looking at upcoming releases, including Brave and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. We're going to review Prometheus. Get ready for that one. We talk about the latest in movie and TV news. We have our own trivia and flashback DVD segments. And this week on From the Outside In, where each week we talk about a topic on ours or our listeners' minds, we're going to talk about spoilers. What is saying too much about a movie? You can always subscribe to the Hollywood Outsider on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or anywhere else you can find an RSS feed. With that, I am your host, Aaron Peterson. With me today are my fellow host, Scott Clark.
Hey, how you doing, Aaron?
Doing fantastic.
We have a very special birthday in the house.
Well, hang on. Let me introduce everybody else.
Okay.
Oh, Justin McCumber.
Hey, guy. How you doing, man?
Doing super. And Brian Williams.
Happy birthday, bitch.
All right. Thank you. Go back to Scott.
I was going to say we have a very special birthday this week. Yesterday, E.T. turned 30.
Oh. And
Aaron thought we were talking about him.
Oh,
now you're kind of a dick. I did just get the coolest present from my fellow hosts. They got me the Battlestar Galactica Blu-ray series set, the entire thing on Blu-ray.
And it's awesome.
That is really cool.
Scotty, you should hold on to that so if he assholes out during the show, you can just pull it a little further and a little further away.
If he pulls a Peterson.
Pull the Peterson.
I'm really surprised they gave it to me before the show started.
Yeah, we probably should have waited.
strategical error.
Happy birthday, though, man. Sincerely.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday to... I can't do a Marilyn Monroe. Sorry, I tried.
You were doing all right.
Yeah, and the vision of you dressed up in Marilyn Monroe's dress,
Lovely.
squeezing your boobs, was just not very appealing.
I'm just
to me.
picturing Justin walking around with his bathrobe flowing in the wind.
Thanks for the image. I am
It's
scarred
beautiful.
for life.
Scarred for life.
Well, first things first, Stephen King's It, which if you guys remember was a TV movie quite some years ago, is being adapted into 2 films by Jane Eyre. Did I say that right?
Jane
Eyre.
Eyre.
God, I can't believe I said that one.
Illiterate son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I thought it was Jane Eyre.
It's Jane Eyre, whatever it is. By the guy that made that, Cary Fukunaga. And if you say that wrong, it's going to sound like a bad line from a Spike Lee movie. But
I just saw that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But anyway, Stephen King's It's going to be adapted into 2 movies. That's what the point is.
As much as I like the book, I don't think it's one of his novels that is really... It's probably one of the hardest that he's ever written to adapt into something, because half of the book, if not a little more than that, is pure flashback. How they're going to break it up into 2 films, unless the first film is everything that happens to this. And for those who don't know, the whole book is about a group of kids who, as children, they face this incredible evil called It. But in the movie, in the book, one of the ways that it personifies itself is in the clown Pennywise, of course, played by Tim Curry in the television miniseries they did of it. They face this evil down, and of course it returns as they're adults. So if they're going to do the first film as kids and the second film as adults, maybe, but I don't know. I love it, but it's really not a cinematic book. The main villain, other than in that Pennywise personification, really isn't your typical movie antagonist. It's more almost a force of nature than it is an actual villain. And then, of course, go into the whole Dark Tower shit, and it gets even more whacked out. But I don't know. I'll have to see some trailers and some pictures and get a better idea for this before I decide whether I want to be excited or not.
Yeah, maybe instead of maybe they'll do like Fantastic Four, and instead of a clown, maybe they'll turn him into just this big cloud.
Yeah, what happened to Galactus there? I don't know.
I like that idea that you said about splitting it up into 2, doing the flashbacks, and then having them as adults. That's kind of a cool idea. I hope they go that way now that you said that. Because I didn't watch it until I was an adult, and I didn't find it scary as an adult, or I don't know, and I wanted it to be, so I kind of am excited to see what they'll do with it in modern times.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Stephen King fan, so anything they actually bring to the big screen, I get happy about, because the last few movies he's done haven't been that great, unless Frank Darabont was involved. So we'll see what happens. The TV movies I'm not a fan of. My son loved the original, though. For some reason. I have no idea why.
It's all Pennywise. That movie hinged on that character and that performance. And Tim Curry did a good job. Pennywise is a fun character, but everything else about that thing was pretty dreadful.
Okay. Well, this is kind of exciting to me, but Hugh Laurie, who was TV's House, is going to play the villain in the RoboCop reboot. And Gary Oldman, Samuel L. Jackson are already on board as well. The Killing's Joel Kinnaman is playing RoboCop. This is officially like an interesting remake.
Now, I'm in the minority here, and I know you're going to make fun of me, but I've never seen the original.
We're going to make fun of you anyway.
That's true. I've never seen the original RoboCop. Is it awesome?
Why are you on this podcast?
I know. Is it awesome? I mean, is it?
Well, the first one is. I think the first one holds up a little bit. It's tough to say because it is pretty much a product of the 80s.
Yeah.
25 years ago, it was awesome.
Yeah. That said, I'm excited for this. Especially with the cast: Gary Oldman, Samuel Jackson, Hugh Laurie, Joel Kinnaman. I think I could see him pulling off Peter Weller's a little bit.
Well, I think what Kinnaman's got going for him is he's got sort of a unique voice. And really part of RoboCop is the voice, not so much the look. If they go with the design similar to what was in the first run of RoboCop. Mm-hmm. So because his face is mostly covered anyway. So
right.
A lot of it is his voice and he's got a unique voice. I like he's one of the few things I like about that show, The Killing. Mm-hmm. And he also had a small part in Safe House. So, but I like him. I think he's a pretty good up-and-coming actor. So
I'm very intrigued.
I'm looking forward to it.
Same here, especially with today's special effects and that kind of thing. I could see this being an awesome summer blockbuster.
So
drop it.
That's a really good cast, man. Mm-hmm. For that, that's a really good cast.
And Hugh Laurie is a villain. I mean, I know on House he was kind of an anti-hero anyway, but
good change of pace for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs to play an outright bad guy.
Right.
Next piece, Snow White and the Huntsman, which we reviewed a couple episodes ago, is getting, or actually last episode, gets a sequel. They're going to make Snow White and the Huntsman Part 2. I don't know what else there is to do for them, but Spider-Man and Jurassic Park writer David Koepp has been commissioned to write it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where else they're going to go with this also, which is, that alone kind of makes me a little bit more, has kind of piqued my interest in this a little bit because I know the actors are signed on, or they have options for up to two sequels or follow-up movies. So there's potentially a pretty big franchise here. As far as Koepp, I don't know much about him. I know that he's got a couple of big money movies behind him, like Jurassic Park and Mission Impossible. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I generally speaking, I don't judge the movie by the writer. Even though you need a good script, and that's really what a movie hinges around is the script. I generally don't go, oh, it's David Koepp or whatever his name is. I got to go see this. And I don't think most people do. I'm just kind of curious, really, to see where they go with it.
Me too. And he's also like Steven Spielberg's go-to guy. So David Koepp, Spielberg has used him a lot, including Jurassic Park and other films. So he gives me confidence because the current film, that's where I thought the story was lacking. The story was the problem. And I think if you get a writer that knows how to shape a story into, let's face it, this is a blockbuster entertainment. This isn't going to be anything deep and meaningful. It's going to be blockbuster entertainment. But if you can make it entertainment that is fun, I think this has the potential to be great. I just really hope they do. Because they had everything else in place. The actors were fine. I thought a lot of where they faltered, minus I don't think Kristen Stewart was that exciting, but a lot of where they faltered lied in the story. And if they juice the story up, I think this could be a much better sequel than the first was.
And I'm the only one that hasn't seen it. Did they leave it open for
sequels?
No. It's open and shut. I mean, it's
a
for
fairy
all intents
tale.
and purposes, it's done. Right.
Mm-hmm. They lived happily ever after. Done.
Right.
So yeah, I'm kind of with Brian. I don't exactly know where they're going to go with a sequel, but of course, when you have a world that contains things like that magical forest and the dwarves and everything else, there's always room for some new villain to rear their head up, whether it's another sorceress or some other mythical creature. Fuck, they could even do a dragon if they wanted to. There's definitely room, but I don't know. One of the beauties of a story like this is that it's told and then it's done, and then you move on. This sequelization of everything that earned $1, sometimes that you shouldn't. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was pretty done.
Well, a couple casting tidbits. Philip Seymour Hoffman was offered the role of Plutarch Heavensbee.
Plutarch Heavensbee.
Thank you. I'm sorry I never read the book.
Sorry, you never learned grammar.
Fuck you. I learned that one. In the Hunger Games sequel, Catching Fire, and Ray Winstone has been commissioned to play the villain in the Noah film with Russell Crowe. I didn't know there was a villain in Noah, but okay.
Yeah, in the first story, The Hunger Games, of course, the Hunger Games are overseen by a games master. And at the end of the book, just like in the end of the film, this might actually touch into the topic we're going to talk about later. Suffice it to say, they bring in a new games overseer, who is this character, Plutarch Heavensbee, who oversees the Hunger Games and the following stories. And his role is much more substantial than the games maker from the first film. Having Philip Seymour Hoffman on to play that is phenomenal casting. This guy is probably one of the best real actors working today. No matter what he does an amazing job. So I'm really looking forward to that. The Ray Winston thing, though, I mean, is he playing the flood? Is he going to voice the water as it comes roaring down from the sky?
That's kind of what I thought.
Apparently Aronofsky is going to actually make some sort of nemesis that Noah has to contend with, while maybe he's going to play the local government official that doesn't want to give him building permits. I don't know. My interest in this film is so minimal, it's almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't remember much from Sunday school about specific quote-unquote villains.
You went to church?
Grew up in the church, man, believe it or not. But, I think like most people, I remember Noah. Everybody was against him. Everybody thought he was crazy for building an ark. I'm assuming Ray Winston is basically kind of the village leader, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I don't think there was, so much a Noah versus Ishmael death match type of thing.
So that would be awesome.
But yeah, that may be Noah part 2.
Nice.
The beatdown.
I couldn't agree more with Justin on Phil Hoffman. That guy is awesome, especially in that role, knowing where the story is headed. That just makes a lot of sense. From what I read, he's been offered it, but he hasn't accepted it yet.
He hasn't 100% accepted it, yeah.
So it's still on the fence, but man, I hope that happens.
In other words, I'm in for it. I want to do it. How much are you going to pay me?
Yep, that's pretty much all it is.
Yep, because he saw how much the first one made. So
yeah, he ain't stupid. He's a smart man.
Yeah,
and he's an actor. We talked about this last week, but we have some more news about World War Z, that zombie apocalypse flick starring Brad Pitt, that just moved its release date to next summer for 7 weeks of reshoots. Prometheus writer Damon Lindelof has been brought on to rewrite the film, specifically the third act.
How do we talk about this without spawning any kind of controversy here?
You mean without making Justin mad?
Well, that's part of it. I don't know. My interest was already waning on this movie ever since they were talking about the rewrites, and
ever since they said they're going to reshoot the whole movie.
Reshoot pretty much the whole movie and rewriting the whole third act. So I've already been on the fence about whether or not I want to see this, which sucks because I love the idea, the concept behind it. I love apocalypse movies and that are made to be realistic, that kind of thing. I love that concept. But, and again, not stirring the pot here, but I was a huge Lost fan up until a lot of the stuff wasn't answered for me. I felt kind of let down. And we're going to talk about Prometheus later, but the fact that this guy who pretty much has touted the fact that this is how he writes and that's what he's going to be doing, I'm just losing more and more interest on this movie. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I know what I said a few minutes ago about writers, and I don't really judge a movie by the writer. But if he turns this into, World War Z into some vague existentialist bullshit about death, the afterlife, or creationism, I'm boycotting anything he's, touching from here on.
I will say that even though I agree with you that he has definitely some of that, I also can remember many episodes that he has done and other work that he has done that was actually pretty interesting. So
sure.
He can bring it if he wants to bring it. So maybe it'll be easier because he's touching up. Well, I guess he touched up Prometheus' work, but I'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. As of right now, I don't know how much more loss of faith they could put in that movie.
Well, the story's already written, right? This is a graphic novel, right?
I think
Or was it
the
a book?
movie's already shot, so I'm sure the story's already written. Yeah,
Well, but they're starting from scratch. I mean,
just the third act primarily. It sounds like they're just reshooting the end of the movie.
so the part where it has to
was
wrap
a novel.
up.
It
Yeah.
wasn't a graphic novel.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's
Yeah, I
not like
talked all
he's
about
writing
this
the
last
idea,
week,
the
but whatever.
concepts. This is
yeah,
he's writing the script basically, right?
yeah. Well, he's rewriting the script. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see what happens. That's definitely an interesting one to watch, man, because that movie is just not having a good.
Yeah, at this point, I
run.
kind of have to see just
Yeah.
to see what the big deal is.
Now watch it
But-
come out, and it'll be the most amazing thing you ever saw. 'Cause
I hope it is.
A lot of times when this stuff happens, it juices it up. And the last piece of news. You thought Hasbro would hang it up after Battleship? Oh, no. Adam Sandler and his Happy Gilmore production company are looking to make an animated Tonka truck movie. Brian, this is right up your alley.
What? Because I still play with Tonka toys?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what's the deal with Hasbro? They're just throwing out every. It's like every property they have, there's something in the works, some kind of movie in the works about it. I mean, do they think that we're going to sit out just because there's a movie? I'm going to go buy a board game of Battleship or Candyland.
I kind of want one. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know you're just saying. You're an ass.
Battleship on
But
your
I
phone.
mean, in this actual case, though, an animated Tonka toy movie actually makes sense. Mm-hmm. It makes more sense. At least it makes more sense than Candyland or Battleship or Risk, which are all or have been made. They're either in the work. Battleship obviously just came out, but Candyland and Risk are in different stages of development. I know Universal has slowed or stopped production on a number of these properties because of the underwhelming success of Battleship. Mm-hmm. But like Stretch Armstrong, Clue, Monopoly, Magic the Gathering, that's basically they've turned them around at one stage or another. They've either stopped them or just put them on hold, and that's from a Deadline.com actually. So
Wasn't there an Asteroids movie supposed to be coming too? Oh, that's not a board game. That's a video game. Never mind. Scratch that.
It's like you've just been sitting waiting for a spot you could say that.
Yeah.
It's a video game movie. All right, well, with that, let's go into...
welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. All right, well, as you know, video games are near and dear to our special friend Scott. And by special, I think you know what I mean. So much so, he's even got his own monthly podcast, which he hosts, called the Official Thread Podcast.
What are you, paid? Suddenly there's money exchanged in hands, nobody said a word.
All right, but when I saw the preview for Wreck-It Ralph, I immediately thought of him. Because, Scotty, how amped are you to see this animated movie about a villain who is tired of playing second fiddle to the hero and goes on a quest of his own?
I think this looks fantastic. I mean, obviously I'm a video gamer, but it looks fun too. I mean, it's got a lot of characters from a lot of video games we know. I saw Street Fighter characters. I saw Pac-Man characters. I don't know. It looks cool. He looks like a Donkey Kong character that's tired of being what he's doing and goes on. I don't know.
He started being Donkey Kong. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. It kind of made sense in my head.
I think it looks fun. I mean, and video game movies usually don't work. I mean, I really enjoyed Scott Pilgrim for what it was. This looks fun. I think it'll do pretty well. What do you guys think? Am I alone on this?
I don't know any kid that knows what an actual arcade is.
Yeah,
but
that's
outside
true.
of that, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually hate the nostalgia that a lot of people seem to have for 8-bit and 16-bit video games. To me, it quite often seems overblown. I mean, I look as fondly as most people do back on my old Atari 2600. I'm nearly 40. I have been playing video games practically since they were invented, but I don't hold up early Atari, early Nintendo games as some paragon of the format like some people do. So a film like this would knee-jerk make me want to dislike it. But I watched the trailer, and there is such a genuine fun and joy in it. And it's not just... And I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that it's not just venerating, nor is it trying to hold down any one particular type of video games. It covers everything from the early up till, characters appearing in games now. Mm-hmm. And it's that multi-generational aspect to its characters and breadth that it makes it appeal to me.
I love that there's a scene in the trailer where he winds up in a modern day video game, a modern shooter or something. And he's all like, when did video games become violent? I don't know. That kind of concept just sounds fun to me.
I think the whole thing looked really fun, and I don't really like animated films, but this reminded me a lot of the first Toy Story. You know, just the vibe and using nostalgia to tell a current story. It looks really neat. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, it'll be neat to go see it just to see how many little nods to the old video games that you can pick out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the trailer alone, they used actual names from licensed games.
I mean, there are Nintendo characters in there. I can't imagine how much that must have cost. Mm-hmm. Unless Nintendo just said, "Oh, screw it, we'll create some good, good vibes out there with all of our fans," and didn't charge an arm and a leg. I would like to think that's the spirit these companies went into it with.
Mm-hmm.
That's very sweet and naive of you.
Yes, I know.
All right. Well, just a quick note: both of these movies we're talking about today will be released on November 2nd. So, it should be a fun weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first he saved the world in a nuclear sub in Crimson Tide. Then he stopped a runaway train in Unstoppable. Now Denzel Washington flies a plane upside down to save all the passengers. But after being originally hailed as a hero, he turns into a scapegoat after an investigation into the malfunctions of the wreck reveals some troubling information. Aaron, is this just another Denzel disaster movie or more of a drama?
Oh, it looks awesome. I think it looks fantastic. I saw the trailer and I didn't know what it was about. I just knew it was called Flight. And I saw that, a plane almost crashes and he saves them from crashing. This sounds like the most boring movie ever. And then it plays on, and of course Denzel being Denzel helps. But, I mean, just to see him, he might have been drinking, and what else does this mean? And you can tell that there's going to be a lot of him realizing that you save lives, even though you thought your life was over, you were meant to do this. And, a whole lot of deep introspective thing. It just looks really good. Really good. I'm really surprised how good it looks.
Well, and how long has it been since we've seen Robert Zemeckis? It's been
a live-action movie? It's been a very long time.
So that's kind of exciting alone. The only thing is
he's been doing those creepy-ass CGI things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Denzel is Denzel, like you said. I mean, he plays kind of one character in almost everything he plays, seems like. But I'm interested to see how they do the flight. How I don't understand how flying it upside down it saved him. That seems fun, and the whole drama afterwards. I'm excited.
That seems fun. Let's try it. Let's go get on a passenger airliner and see what happens.
Yeah,
spin it around. Do it. I really want to see it. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Meh.
You don't like Denzel Washington?
I love Denzel Washington. I think he's a great actor, but this is another one of those trailers that goes through several tonal shifts. As it's, it starts off feeling one way, then it goes into another vibe, and then it kind of goes into another. And maybe I'm just getting a little old and curmudgeonly and crusty, but that changing of tone for whatever reason just kind of throws me off, and causes me to not want to see it. I'm not sure what it is, and plus just the whole story of a pilot who saves people but then might be scapegoated for whatever reason just doesn't. I don't know. It's nothing that makes me want to spend 2 hours of my life watching it.
In the trailer they're saying that he had alcohol in his system. So
sure, but
it may not be necessarily. You know what I'm saying? It may not necessarily be scapegoat. He could have been fucked up.
He could have, but the story of a pilot saving people and then the investigation into it, that's just not. It doesn't get my motor running.
You fly a plane upside down and land it on the wrong side, you're going to get investigated, no matter if you're a hero or not. So.
But that still won't get his motor running. That's what he's saying.
All right, y'all can check out these trailers and more at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. And if you have any questions, praises, complaints, or topic ideas, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Post on our wall at facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsiders. And tweet us at H_outsider.
Beautiful. Brian did it right the first time.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's holes.
Now it is time for
Stump the Hoe.
Stump the Hoe. Each week, one of our hosts poses a trivia question to the remaining hosts in an attempt to stump their fellow hoes. Hoe stands for Hollywood Outsider, not actual prostitutes. This week, it is Justin's turn. Justin?
All right. Well, later on this episode, we're going to be reviewing Prometheus. So, of course, my mind is in very much an alien state of mind, and I wanted to get a question that would talk to that movie a little bit, see how much we can remember about that long ago film. Originally, Alien was not titled Alien. It went by another name. What was the original title for Alien? Was it A, Black Star, B, The Nostromo, C, Starbeast, D, Silent Screams? Brian, what's your guess?
I'll say B, Nostromo.
Okay, Aaron?
I'll say Nostromo as well.
I'll say
Scotty?
C, Starbeast.
All right, there you go.
All right. We will.
That's a band from the 80s, Scott.
We will learn the answer to the question a little later in the show, so stick around. Right now, let's go to the big screen. Scotty?
All right, so first off, I want to do a recap of last week's episode. It was episode 45, Ho White on the Hunt. We talked about the releases for June 15th, which were Your Sister Sister, That's My Boy, and Rock of Ages. I don't have down who our picks were, but I know my pick was Rock of Ages.
Everybody's pick was Rock of Ages. I was That's My Boy.
All right, cool. We also did reviews of Snow White and the Huntsman, at least the rest of my fellow hoes did. And for our topic of the week, we talked about what filmmakers keep you from seeing... what filmmakers keep you from seeing a film you would otherwise would see. And with that, we'll go on to our new releases.
All right, it's time to review Prometheus. Mr. McCumber, take it away. You can start her. Or you can sigh.
All right, here we go. Prometheus. Now, directed by Ridley Scott and written by John Spaths and Damon Lindelof, the film stars Naomi Rapace, Michael Fassbender, Guy Pearce, Idris Elba, and Charlize Theron. Set in the late 21st century, the story centers on the crew of the spaceship Prometheus as they follow a star map discovered among the remnants of several ancient Earth cultures. Led to a distant world and an advanced civilization, the crew seeks the origins of humanity, but instead discovers a threat that could cause the extinction of the human race. Now, that's the official synopsis, but really Prometheus is more than that, both as a film and as a piece of modern cinematic culture. Originally, the film was going to be a direct Alien prequel, but then Scott brought in Damon Lindelof to rework the script into something a bit more original. The film still had strands of the Alien DNA in it, pardon the pun, but Scott wanted to make the film more of its own thing. So while Prometheus is indeed a prequel to Alien, the amount of time and story that separates it from the original 1979 film Alien is considerable. Now, before we get too far into this, one point that we need to clarify for those who haven't seen the film and might be confused. This movie does not take place on LV-426, which is the planet featured in Alien and Aliens. So the alien ship and the space jockey from those films is not the same as what we find in Prometheus. I think a lot of people are under a misunderstanding about that, and they think that it's through those aspects that this is a prequel. Mm-hmm. That is not the case. This movie's story takes place on an entirely different location and represents humanity's first real foray into deep space, not to mention alien contact. This film has proven to be much more controversial than I ever imagined it would be. The crying on both sides of the divide between those who loved it and those who hate it has been pretty loud. And so I can't imagine that the review we're going to give to it as a group can't vary from that. Of course, some of us are going to like it, some of us probably won't. I would like to start off, without dropping us straight into the shit. So, Scotty, why don't you start? Because I know where Aaron and I know where Brian sit on this. I'm not sure where you sit. So,
okay.
Why don't you go first? What do you think of Prometheus?
All right. Well, as you guys know from the last couple of shows, this has been my most anticipated movie, namely because I love the original Alien so much. I went into this wanting to love this movie. I had such high expectations, partially my fault because I wanted a proper Alien prequel.
That's fair.
Right? But I read not full reviews, but I read some things saying you can't go into it thinking that way. You have to kind of go into it thinking of it as its own entity, not a proper prequel. So I went into it with an open mind that way. Still really wanted to like it. I liked it, but I wanted to like it more. I'm not saying I did not like it. I'm not in a hate camp on this one by any means. But there were so many things in it that, and nothing, not on the prequel aspect of it, but there's just some things in it that I couldn't wrap my head around. Maybe I need a second viewing. There's just so many unanswered questions, and I know that's not necessarily a bad thing for a lot of people, but there's so many things that just don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Not enough explanation. Some things about the character development that I just had problems with. For instance, the Michael Fassbender character, who was fantastic in the movie, by the way.
And we're doing spoiler free, by the way.
Absolutely.
So nobody has to worry. If you listen any further, you're not going to hear anything.
Yeah, we're not going to give anything away. But some of the things that this character does, I don't understand why. And there's no explanation as to what his motivations are, what he's doing, why he's doing it. And granted, we may be getting those answers in a sequel, possibly. But I just have so many unanswered questions that just seem to be thrown in there for no reason. That said, the movie is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. One of the most beautiful movies I've seen in quite a long time. The acting and direction is superb. I loved Michael Fassbender, obviously. Idris Elba, who I don't remember seeing anything else. I thought he was great. Rapace, is that how you pronounce her last name? The main lead.
Yes, I believe so.
You asking Aaron?
Yeah, I'm not answering.
He'd give it a Hispanic accent.
I can see his hands going up like, "Hey, don't look at me."
I didn't like the guy that played her husband, who was supposedly a scientist.
Boyfriend,
I didn't buy him as a scientist at all. This whole like, oh hey, the computer says.
I kept looking at him and seeing Tom Hardy. That's all I.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
Yeah, yeah. But I enjoyed the movie. I wanted to enjoy it more for selfish reasons, probably because I wanted to see a little bit more tie into Alien than there was. I'm just disappointed with so many unanswered questions, and I don't want to have to wait another 2-3 years for a sequel to get those questions answered. But I still enjoyed it. I just wanted to enjoy it more, and I gave it a 6.5.
Oh, all right. B, you can go.
I agree. It's visually, it's stunning. That the epic grand scenes. You'll see this little Land Rover looking thing driving down a trail or something, but you've got this overhead view of these just vast epic sceneries and stuff. It was absolutely gorgeous. The special effects were great. Charlize Theron, this is 2 weeks in a row now. She's just nailed it. I mean, she was awesome as just a cold bitch again. Idris Elba, I like his character, but as a Southerner, I was very distracted by his horrible Southern accent.
I knew you were going to say
that. To somebody from California, from New York, Chicago,
they don't know no better.
They don't know any better. Exactly.
Don't all rednecks sound like Brian?
No, man, they're
not in Hollywood.
Brian is his own redneck.
That's right. Georgia rednecks, Texas rednecks, and Illinois rednecks are completely different.
That's right. We sound normal.
So, but I really thought this was really basically 2/3 of a great movie. The special effects and the acting were phenomenal, but the story was not there. It was very bland. It was basic. It just didn't seem to go where, kind of like what Scott said, it didn't go where I wanted it to, or it just didn't give me what I was hoping for. I kind of thought the search for the parent aliens or whatever didn't have to be so prominent. I kind of thought that could kind of be sort of a backstory, kind of like the original Alien, where it was about these space miners, but you never really saw them drilling or anything like that. And even some of the scenes were almost identical to the first Alien movie, where Ripley wouldn't let an infected crew member back on board, and neither would Vickers. So, and it's not really much of a spoiler, but you can edit that out if you need to.
No, that's fine.
But it was almost
trailers.
Yeah,
exactly. And so it was almost identical. I kind of thought it was I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was good. Also one of my more anticipated ones of the year. But I mean, I gave it a 7. And I hate this. It sounds bad, but I'm only giving it a 7 out of 10. I wanted to give this much more. Mm-hmm. I love the Alien franchise. This is way better than this. I believe you got Aliens 2, then Aliens 1. This is probably the third one out of the 5 movies. But I can't see not expecting Alien going into this movie. When basically, as much as they say it's don't expect Alien, you kind of do. You can't help but say, I'm looking for alien stuff here.
Well, I think Alien is very much a part of the movie, so you get it. You just maybe not as much as some people would like, but I never.
It was really more prominent than say they told us. Well, it's not really going to matter up until the last 8 minutes of the movie. Mm-hmm. That's BS. It is more prominent throughout the movie, but when you advertise the movie and the titles come on in the same fashion as the original Alien movie, mm-hmm. where part of the letters kind of spin around and then after a few seconds, boom, you've got Prometheus. That sets the tone that this is an alien movie. Mm-hmm. And it just felt more like just a drama that happened to be in space.
All right. And you gave it 7 out of 10?
7 out of 10, yeah. I originally gave it an 8, but I had to knock off $1 for the bad accent. So,
Justin, you or me? You can call it.
Why don't you go first?
All right. You want to end on the happy notes?
We'll try and end on a higher note.
All right. Well, I think you'd probably be surprised with mine, but I concur with the other with these two. I think there's a lot of great ideas in the movie. I really think that some of the concepts that are in the movie are great. I am not like Brian and Scott. I didn't go in expecting an Alien movie because I didn't care. I know Alien. I don't worship Alien. I just know the series, and I think probably half of those movies suck and half of them are really good. So, take that for what you will. That said, going in, I knew that there was some feature of Alien, but I really didn't care to what degree it was, me personally. Now, Damon Lindelof, obviously I have an issue with a series he had. But that really wasn't my issue. I think he's a writer who personally poses a lot of clever questions in whatever he does. I think he has some really clever and interesting ideas about the universe and questioning things in the world. I have a real issue with the way he writes because I think he writes. Unfortunately, there's some writers I think that write exceptionally well at making things ambiguous so that you are just in trance with curiosity. You know what I'm saying? Where I'll figure this out in my head. I don't understand. And you just want to put the pieces together. He does things to infuriate people. Mm-hmm. I feel like sometimes, and I'm not saying he's a bad writer because I have seen things that he's done very well, but several times when he takes on huge themes, he seems to, in my opinion, write as though he's smarter than everyone he's writing for. And he's trying to make things as vague as possible so that they can be taken in several. He's trying too hard to be ambiguous, and it comes across in his writing because then, when whatever he does is over, people have to ask the question, "What just happened? Explain that to me." And granted, it's good to get people talking, but it's not good to constantly be polarizing people, which is what I think he's doing with this film. There's been a lot of scuttle on the internet about how this is one of those movies where some people are saying it's stupid and some people are saying, oh, you just don't get it, to the stupid people. I don't think either one of those are fair. I think the movie is trying for some grand ideas, and I think a lot of people, and Justin can speak for himself, I'm not speaking for him, but I think some people go into it and they really grasp on to the grand idea of it, that the overall themes that are in the movie are really clever and I think could be an excellent science fiction film. It's just not happening in this film. So I get it. I just didn't like what I was getting. I think it could have been done better. I got everything that they were going for. I have seen interviews from Ridley and Damon. I get what they're going for. They both clearly illustrate exactly what they're going for. I don't think the film actually delivered that. It's really hard to talk about without spoiling it too much, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody because the trailers have done a pretty decent job of keeping the plot under wraps, But that said, visually, best looking movie of the year, by far. Just looks beautiful. Every shot looks like Ridley's heart was into it. he didn't put enough heart in the story, in my opinion, but he put tons of heart in the acting and the direction in that respect. The actors were perfect, outside of Guy Pearce, who I thought, he plays a very small role as the old guy that sends them on their way. And
spoiler alert.
Not really. He's at the very beginning. He's out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you see him and he introduces the mission, and he's there in a very small role, and it took me out of it for a minute because it just looked exactly like a squealing cat. It looked like a squealing cat. But I thought that was Justin's
That was
cat.
an alien,
Yeah.
a xenomorph.
That was a
hissing
xenomorph.
behind me.
I just thought the story was kind of lazy, but the acting, Charlize Theron, fantastic. Numi, fantastic. Who I like Ripley better if you're going to compare it to the Alien series, because just Sigourney Weaver just owned that role. But I like Numi. I think she was somebody that was a strong female lead without having to be like this strong hero. But she manages to take things into her own hands without being an action hero. You know what I mean? She reminded me a lot of Sigourney from the first Alien, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And Idris Elba, I liked him a lot. I thought he was funny as hell. And everybody else was pretty okay, except for that guy that looks like Tom Hardy, who I don't know his name is because I don't care.
He had one really good line.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, the whole, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with.
Yeah.
It was a nice little reference there.
That's true.
And one thing with Guy Pearce in that character, in that role, I don't understand why to have that actor in that role, because he's obviously playing an elderly guy. Way too much makeup, way overdone in makeup. With so many elderly or older actors out there, why go with Guy Pearce, especially if we're never going to,
Yeah,
I was very distracted by that.
Yeah, it's really kind of a waste of Guy Pearce.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think a lot of people would even know that was Guy Pearce if I hadn't seen.
There's got to be some old guys looking for a job right now.
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer isn't doing all plays.
They're angry right next to the little people who didn't get cast in Snow White.
Excellent point. So to wrap mine up, visually best looking movie of the year, wonderfully acted. I just simply thought the storytelling was a little lazy, in my opinion. So I gave it 6 out of 10, almost exclusively due to the acting and technical achievements. I appreciate their attempt at trying something deeper, even if I don't think they quite went there. Justin?
I left the movie on a higher note than I currently sit at with the film, because a lot of the criticisms that people have leveled against the film makes sense more to me now that I had more time to think about it than I did when I first saw it. Part of me almost wishes that they had just decided, let's not make this an Alien prequel. Let's just make it its own film. That way we're not beholden to any future story, character designs, or expectations. Let's just make this its own unique film, because really there's not a hell of a lot to tie it to Aliens outside of a lot of design elements. I mean, every sci-fi movie has got an evil alien in it somewhere. Mm-hmm. So really, other than making the alien ship look the same as it did in Alien and making the engineer look like the space jockey did, other than that, there isn't really a lot of reason that this had to be an Alien prequel. And I think that if they had maybe stepped away from Alien, made it its own thing, freeing it from some of that might have gotten rid of not only some expectation, but would have also allowed them to make even more changes to the story that might have made it stronger. So there's that one thought. In defense of Damon Lindelof, though, I think the man has an amazing ability to create myths and mysteries that extend beyond the scope of the story he's telling them in, and creates, for me, what he does is he creates the feeling that what I am watching is part of something much bigger. And I'm one of those types of people that really enjoys that idea of a vastness of that story, whether you're talking The Dark Tower or you're talking Lost or so many other stories. That feeling that what I'm seeing takes place in a much larger context fascinates me. I also like the idea that not all of the story and all of the mysteries are revealed to me. We live our lives ignorant of so much of what goes on in our own world. And while it's nice that in art things can be simpler and we can understand better than we maybe can our own lives, occasionally I enjoy a story that comes along and says, I'm not going to give you all the answers. I'm going to give you moments in these characters' lives. You may not understand everything that goes on, but that's okay. Neither do they. And in the mystery of that, you can find value and entertainment. And so for me personally, I'm not speaking for anyone else. For me, I enjoy that on occasion. I think that's why I liked it in Lost, but I wouldn't want every damn show out there to do that. I like that in Prometheus, but I wouldn't want every film to do that. Some films I want tied up in a neat little bow, all of its mystery solved, all of the story understood. That leaves open, though, other films to not do that, to give me a mystery and say, think about it, and then step back. I know people want to disagree with me, but I think that was a lot of the strength for me of the Matrix sequels. It presented a lot more story and mystery, didn't answer it all, and left it for me to think about afterward and to really dive into it. There is a URL for a breakdown of one man's opinion of the Prometheus and some of the symbols and the subtext of the movie. And Scotty, I know you sent the URL to Aaron and the rest of us, and I'd already read it. I think it might be interesting if we include that link on this review on the website.
Yeah, I can put it in the show notes. Sure.
Because it talks a lot about the deeper aspects of some of the stories' symbols and some of the stories' names, and a lot of things that they just barely hint at in the film. If you go elsewhere and look into it, there's a lot there to chew on. Way too much for a film to really do. Ultimately, though, there were a lot of elements of the writing that I did find incredibly weak and that really kind of upset me as a writer. When you get a scientist that wants to reach out and pet that unknown alien that just appeared, what the fuck are you thinking? Yeah. When you get someone who is brought in to create a map of this area and he gets fucking lost, that makes no fucking sense either. There are a lot of points where the logic just completely falls away from some of these characters. And then there's some things that go on at the end that require these characters to do things that I really don't know why they're doing this. They haven't earned what they're doing. It kind of seems a little overblown. So there are writing aspects that I wish were tightened. All in all, it is still a beautiful film, and it is still a film that brings up a lot of ideas that I think everyone would benefit from thinking about, contemplating, investigating. And I respect Lindelof and Scott for really taking a chance on presenting us something that's much more deep than it looks to be on initial glance. And daring people or challenging them with that, knowing that there are going to be a lot of people who dislike it and disagree with it. I give it a 7 out of 10. I wished I could rate it higher. But I think I don't fault the film for the things that it doesn't give me, because I like the things that it didn't give me.
That's fair enough. So I give it a 6. Scotty gave it a
6.5.
Brian gave it a
7.
And Justin gave it a 7.
Oh, hey,
sorry if I went on too long.
No, that's all right. Scott?
One more thing, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is one scene in this movie that is fantastic as far as creepy and visually amazing.
Makes you cringe.
And off-putting that was so well done. And that alone almost gets an extra point for me, because that was seriously a fantastic scene. I was at the edge of my seat, cringing, wondering what was going to happen, and it was amazing.
Just think of a doctor exam. That'll tell you which scene it is.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, well, that is Prometheus. So if you guys want your tidbits, because apparently this is all the scuttle on the internet, feel free to email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com with your thoughts. Okay, well, we didn't argue nearly as much as I thought we were going to. I'm kind of disappointed. All right.
Well, you want to talk about Oxford commas?
We'll get into that off the air, you son of a bitch. All right, real quick speed round review. I saw Safe House on Blu-ray. That is the Denzel Washington. Speed round is basically we're just going to wrap up a review in under a minute. Safe House is a Denzel Washington stars as Tobin Frost, an ex-CIA agent who went rogue and started selling secrets to the highest bidder. After a deal goes sour, Denzel turns his ass into the South African embassy and is then sent to a local CIA safe house ran by Ryan Reynolds, who plays Matt Westland. After a little torture sequence, Denzel and Ryan are ambushed, and they go on the run, and Ryan Reynolds has to take Denzel into his custody, try to get him safely to justice. You've seen this movie 1,000 times. It's really not that riveting. It's a decent action flick. Denzel kicks ass. I mean, he's great, but he's also the same bad guy he is in several movies. But he's a little more ambiguous in this one. That's my word this episode. He's very much is he bad? Is he good? Oh, where's he going? Is he going left? Is he going right? Whatever. The story is very simple. Ryan Reynolds is completely by the numbers. He doesn't do anything that makes me go, ooh, Ryan Reynolds. Really didn't do a lot to get my heart pumping. I thought it was predictable as hell. If it wasn't for Denzel, I would have turned it off halfway through. So 5 out of 10 for me. It's not a bad movie. It's really generic and predictable.
Yeah.
So, box office. Real quick, Madagascar 3 opened to $60 million in the U.S. and another $75 million overseas and causes Justin to sigh again. You poor guy. I'm worried about your oxygen
people.
intake. They have children. They take their children.
Then why are they abusing their children with this schlock? There are much better films out there their kids could be watching.
This
You
is
don't like
true.
Chris Rock singing about afros? Come on.
I don't know.
They could, that's funny. They could be watching Prometheus, which opened to $51 million, the 12th biggest opening for an R-rated movie ever. And it's also made $91 million so far overseas. So it's pretty good. They're talking the trilogy, so there's a chance you'll get one. And Snow White dropped quite a bit to $23 million and should end up around $150 million total, U.S. So, interesting week in the box office. Now let's go to Justin's upcoming attractions.
All right, coming up on June 22nd, we have got 3 films we're going to be talking about. The first one's called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. It's a comedy written and directed by Lauren Scafaria. The film stars Steve Carell and Keira Knightley. When news breaks that a laser sent to space to protect Earth from a meteor shower has failed its mission, Dodge, played by Steve Carell, hits the road in search of his high school sweetheart, accompanied by Penny, Keira Knightley. Bring on the poignant, life-affirming montage. Scott, is this quirky comedy quirky enough for you?
I don't know, mate. Steve Carell, I like him better when he's playing serious roles nowadays. With Dan in real life, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think this is one will be a rental for me. Nothing I'll go run out to see the theater.
You should see the trailer. It actually looks pretty decent. It looks along those lines of Dan in real life. It's kind of a serious comedy.
Does.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, it's kind of a sweet, bittersweet comedy about what do you do in your last days? What do we do?
Right.
Can we fall in love? Do we have time?
If it's Keira Knightley, only if she eats a cheeseburger or something.
Exactly.
Needs to put on a little bit. Yeah, it looks more like Dan in real life, because when you brought that film up, it surprised me that you thought they seemed different. This one seems quite a bit like that. It's a comedy, but with a lot of that, heartfelt sort of dramedy sensibility to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Looks good.
All right, well, next up, we have got Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. It's a pseudo-documentary action horror film based on the 2010 mashup novel of the same name. The film's directed by Timur Bekmambetov, and the novel's author, Seth Grahame-Smith, wrote the adapted screenplay for it. The real-life figure of Abraham Lincoln, played by Benjamin Walker, is portrayed in the novel and the film as having a secret identity as a vampire hunter. President Lincoln's mother was killed by a supernatural creature, which fuels his passion to crush vampires and their slave-owning helpers. Brian, as our resident teamer fanboy, what proclamation do you have on this?
This is actually another one of my most anticipated. The book was great, and it does a good job of weaving in the fiction with actual history, and kind of uses some of the fiction stuff to explain maybe some of the not as presidential things that Lincoln has done, or maybe like, depression or whatever, those little things. And I love this. I'm the only fear I've got is they may be showing too much in the previews.
Mm-hmm. I would agree
And
with that.
again, we can expand on that later. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie.
Yeah, me too, man. This. I mean, it looks like a cult movie. Although I can't imagine this being a box office hit to save my life.
No.
I can't imagine this making $100 million. I just can't. It's called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, for crying out. Every time I've been in the theater and that trailer played, laughter every time. But it looks
could
fantastic.
do better than you think.
I hope so, because I really want to see it.
Unfortunately, I think that the next film we're going to talk about is going to seriously cut into its money, especially judging by what Madagascar has done to Prometheus. I will say, though, that between this film and Snow White and the Huntsman, I think the axe is the new samurai sword. I mean, it is now going to be the go-to weapon for ass-kicking up close.
Good call.
So we'll have to see. All right, the last film that we're going to talk about is Brave. Brave's a Pixar fantasy adventure film directed by Mark Andrews and Brenda Chapman and co-directed by Steve Purcell. Jesus Christ, how many people can you cram in that director's chair? The film's voice cast includes Kelly MacDonald, Billy Connolly, Emma Thompson, Craig Ferguson, and of course, John Ratzenberger, who's voiced a character in every Pixar movie. In Brave, a skilled archer named Merida, defies an age-old custom, causing chaos in her kingdom. After consulting an elderly wise woman for help, her family becomes cursed, and Merida is forced to undo the spell herself before it is too late. Now, Aaron, you're the Hollywood Outcast's official curmudgeon, so is there really enough love and joy in your heart for a film like this?
First off, the Hollywood Outcast? Wow.
Hollywood Outsider, my bad.
Whatever. Don't
I don't
listen.
know, was that a Freudian slip? Outcast, Outsider? Same diff.
I don't
Move
know.
on.
I think you're insulting me in like 8 different ways. I really want to see it. It's really hard for me to pick which movie I want to see most this week because Brave originally was not on my most anticipated, but the more and more I've seen of it as the release has come closer, has just impressed the hell out of me. Really impressed the hell out of me. I mean, it looks beautiful.
It looks amazing.
It reminds me very much of Up. Because when Up was coming out, I was like, really, a guy in a hot air balloon? That sounds exciting. And the closer and closer it got, I got more and more interested. And I finally saw it and said, wow, this is a really beautiful movie.
Within 10 minutes, we're all crying like bitches.
Yeah, I was
Seriously.
crying like a silly bitch. and that took me completely by surprise. And that was a movie as a movie, not just an animated film, as a movie. And that's kind of what I see with this one. I really see some potential for them to go back to what Pixar's potential should be, as opposed to Cars 2 and shit like that. So I really want to see it.
One of the things that looks amazing to me in the trailer is the animation of her hair. And that seems like a silly thing to
Looks
be
like doll hair.
It looks amazing. And I can't wait to see that. That's one that I've always thought that the animated and Pixar movies are the ones that look best in high definition. So this is one I kind of really want to see in IMAX, just for that fact. So I bet you it looks amazing.
I agree.
One of the things that I really respect about Pixar, the Cars movies aside, is that they never seem content to just make a quote-unquote kids movie. Every film they do, they pack with subtext and meaning that, as an adult, you find riveting, that a lot of quote-unquote kids movies don't do. But Pixar does. They're pardon the pun, brave enough to make films that can speak to multiple generations without bringing any of them down. And this film looks spectacular. The story looks like it's got enough silliness to bring in the kids, but enough real heart and depth to bring in the adults. So I've been wanting to see it ever since I first saw it. The trailers. Hearing those Scottish accents for 2 hours sounds delightful all on its own. So yeah, I think this will be yet another Pixar, home run.
I agree about the accents. I love that accent.
Brian, I'm sorry, Brian, what did you think?
It looks great and it looks funny, sweet, and all that stuff, but for me personally, I'll probably wait till I watch it on my TV because it'll look better on my TV than in the theater.
Fair enough.
I mean, if that's part of the reason you're going to see it, and that for me that is the fact that it is such a stunning looking movie. I don't have an IMAX theater close by.
I understand.
So I'm not going to drive 2 hours to go see this in an IMAX theater. So if there's nothing else to go see, if I've already seen Abe Lincoln once or twice, yeah, then I might go check it out.
Okay.
But
well,
really,
on that note,
it's just one of those things that it looks very good and it looks great, and I want to see it for all of the same reasons. But if I'm going to pick one or the other, I'm going with Abe Lincoln, and I'll watch Brave on my TV because I just think it'll look better on my TV than it will on the big screen. And I'm not a breeder, so I don't have kids to take there. So.
well, I guess all right. Aaron, Brian has already answered which of these three films he wants to go see in theaters. Aaron and Scotty, which one you want to go see?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to go with Brave. Nothing against Abraham Lincoln. I'm excited to see that one, but the more I see trailers of that, I'm worried that I'm going to be disappointed. I have a hard time believing I'm going to be disappointed in a Pixar movie, so I'm going to go with Brave.
I am picking Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter because I would like it to be successful and I really want to see it. But I'm going to see Brave as well. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if I can find it at the Outdoor, both playing the same weekend,
score.
I'm there.
Do it.
If we're talking about which one we're going to see opening weekend, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, only because I refuse to sit in a theater full of snot-nosed rugrats. I'm not going to do it. I'm like Brian. I am not a breeder. I don't want to surround myself with other people's mistakes. I will wait.
And Aaron, just think of all those kids wiping their snotty noses and then putting them on the armrests. Oh my gosh!
I will wait a couple of weeks when the chillins have left the theater to go see it. Fortunately for me, though, I have several theaters around me that have dazzling high-definition projectors. So I think Brave will look phenomenal on the huge screens close to me. I can't wait to see it. But Abraham Lincoln opening weekend is much more my call.
Okay.
There you go.
All
3
right.
for Abraham, 1 for Brave.
What's this movie?
This week on What's This Movie? Well, it is Brian's pick this week, but last week's answer, which was my choice, and I was hoping because I could answer it this week, which would be my birthday, so it was my favorite movie of all time, and nobody got it right. Nobody
Does that
guessed.
mean you have a crappy favorite movie of all time?
Rear Window is one of the most classic films you will ever. You son of a bitch! I will. The Oxford comma is gay. That's all I'm saying.
I guess Hitchcock. Do I get half a point?
No, you don't get points for guessing the director. But the answer was Rear Window. I'm sorry that you guys should all watch it. Then you'll know what that quote was. God, I'm so sad about that. I really
Just watch
somebody would
Disturbia if you don't like black and white.
I will jump across this table and bitch slap you. I swear to God.
I watched The Artist.
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf is so much better than.
Who was in that movie?
Who was it?
Jimmy
Who
Stewart.
was it? Jimmy Cagney. What was that?
All right. Well, this week
Jon
it's
Stewart, somebody.
Somebody. Gary Cooper.
this week.
John Wayne.
This week it's Brian's pick. Here's Brian's clip.
To old D.H. Lawrence. Nick, Nick, Nick. Indians.
Okay, that was Brian's clip. If you think you know what movie that is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. That's feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Or you can answer it on Twitter at @H_outsider. Now let's move to the couch, where we talk about the latest in TV and home video news. This week, TiVo and PayPal are teaming up so that you can instantly order products seen in TiVo ads. It's kind of a cool concept, actually.
I don't have TiVo, so I can't really comment on the potential for the interaction on screen or whatever it is they've got going on there. So that said, I just don't see me using this type of feature. I can be an impulsive consumer, but I'm not really that impulsive to where I see something on the commercial and I just got to go click buy. I mean, even if I see something in town that I like, I'm going to look it up on Amazon or eBay and try to find a better price for it. So, I mean, for me personally, this has got really no relevance at all.
I feel the same way as Brian, but on the other hand, I can't believe that they didn't think of this sooner.
I agree.
Because everyone else out there's a lot of people that are impulse shoppers, and this just seems brilliant from a marketing and sales standpoint.
I just hope they build in some safeguards so that I'm not accidentally buying a goddamn Mercedes when my thumb hits the wrong button.
Are you sure you want to buy this?
Something like that.
It's like
I just see somebody's kid going, yes, yes.
the next day, like a fucking car just shows up. Did I order that? Crap.
And you're asking for a lot of problems with that, too.
You're asking for a lot of marital strife right there, boy. But really cool idea. I mean, if you can control yourself, it's a really cool idea. If you're one of those QVC people that go bankrupt every other year, you probably want to avoid this concept.
I mean, I'm sitting there. I just don't know. I just don't know why somebody can't get up off their already lazy ass and go grab their laptop, iPad, or even, God forbid, go walk 6 feet to a computer and go sit down at a computer and go order it online.
They can, but that takes work. This is they can just do with the click of a button that's already there.
Dude, we are so on our way. We are in the exactly Wally. We are in the commuter lane.
Skynet has landed.
Exactly.
I just picture some lady sitting there going, you know what? I do need some feminine hygiene products. In about 3 weeks. I'll order that now.
Not so fresh feeling.
God. Oh, and by the way, I've never seen a woman on her period dancing in a meadow. I'm just saying. Andy Samberg to star in a BBC comedy, Cuckoo. It's true.
I'm not so sure about this. I don't watch a whole lot of BBC, but from what I'm reading on this sounds like it's a British son-in-law with Pauly Shore.
It does sound like that.
I mean, that's what it sounds like? Andy Samberg is a new Pauly Shore. And if that's the case, I'm not real excited about it because I think Andy Samberg is pretty funny on Saturday Night Live, or at least he was. I guess he's done now. Mm-hmm. And the Lonely Island stuff, he's hilarious. I just don't want him to go down the Pauly Shore route. It seems weird to go across over the pond too. Like
that's where it struck me as weird because he's got a movie coming out with Adam Sandler. Mm-hmm. That's my boy, and if that becomes a huge hit, I'm kind of surprised that he would just jump over to BBC before he even knows what's in store.
Yeah,
but it's also kind of cool that he's trying to stretch his wings.
Well, their seasons are a lot shorter than ours, generally speaking. Anyway,
yeah, like 5,
anywhere
6
from
episodes.
like 6 or 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. So for that, I mean, it's not that he's okay. So he's out for 2 months. You know, most studios can work around that type of deal, but British TV has proven that they are so much better than America as far as creating new shows, coming up with new, fresh ideas. We rip them off. That's what we're good at. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but as far as creating new material and new shows, the British have us beat by far. So I don't know how we can watch it if it'll be on BBC America. Probably it'll be on iTunes at some point. So I'll probably check it out. Sandberg's funny.
Fair enough. A couple of quick mentions in case people are fans of the shows. Kate Walsh did confirm that Private Practice this coming up season is her last season. She's done, so the show is probably done since she's the star. And yes, people, Dallas is back on television. J.R. Ewing, I don't know how he's still alive, but he's there. Wednesday nights, TNT. If you want to get back to some Dallas action, it's there. Is anybody a fan of this show?
It is recording on one of my DVRs right this minute. I was Kate Walsh, Private Practice, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Dallas, as a person who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you could not escape that theme song when I was a kid. It was just on every time, and whenever people would ask me where I was from, I just said Dallas, because if I said Fort Worth, they wouldn't know Fort Worth from a fucking hole in the floor. Dallas, everybody from here to Timbuktu knew Dallas. Strangely enough, though, I had never been to South Fork until last year. For some reason, my wife's aunt was in town. We were looking for things to do, and my wife and I kind of looked at each other and said, we have never been to South Fork. Let's go check that out. So we went, and I never really watched the show beyond what my parents kind of made me watch when they watched it. But for whatever reason, I'm actually incredibly interested to see what they do with this. Not a reboot, but just a continuation of the story. And maybe it's because I've got a hole in my heart left from Desperate Housewives. And I need to fill it with some nighttime soaps. But this looks interesting. It looks pretty good. And they've got Larry Hagman. They've got Patrick Duffy. They're going back to South Fork. And so, I'm actually curious to see how this goes. It's recording right now. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll hear about it next week, I'm sure. HG Home and Garden Television. Let's just call it that. Staple House Hunter is being exposed as a fake. No. I've never seen this show.
I haven't either.
It's an
I've watched
interesting show.
Are you surprised that it's a fake?
I'm not surprised that any reality show isn't actually real. I mean, come on, people.
I agree with you 100%.
Every one of these has got fake elements. At some point, whether they're big or small, none of these shows are without some sort of script.
Well, I was informed before, just recently, by you guys, actually, that this is a big news, and I don't understand why. Because I'm not a fan. I don't watch reality shows, so I don't know why is this a big deal.
Because people are dumb.
Yeah.
And they think this stuff is real. I'm sorry, Brian, you go.
No, I mean, same thing. That was, a couple of points I was going to make. It's just, but another thing is HGTV is really one of the more popular cable channels out there. A lot of people watch them for the, yard ideas or renovation ideas, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's fun watching people go through the decisions of, because what they do with the show, if you don't know the premise of it, is they've got a couple and a realtor, and they say, okay, there's 3 houses. Which one are you going to buy? And apparently what they do, or to speed up the filming and that kind of stuff, is say, okay, the couple that we have on here has already basically picked out the house and almost all the way have just about gone through the whole process of purchasing the house. And in this case, this lady that did the interview, basically she said, yeah, the other 2 houses we looked at were actually owned by friends of ours. So it's not so much we were house hunting. We had already house hunted and it was all over, but somebody wanted to film it. So it's, like I said, it'd be surprising I think to a lot of people that how many of these types of shows are produced and which is a fancier way of saying faked.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. Is I'm surprised that it's taken this long for something like this to come up. Because I'm convinced that half of these shows are all just.
I think they're all orchestrated, except for Jersey Shore. Those guys really are fucking stupid.
Well, there used to be a show about repo people. I forget what it's called now. And my wife and I watched it when it first got started. And it was just about these people repossessing cars and the weird, whacked out people they have to deal with. It took almost no time at all before people figured out that this show was faked, that the repo folks really aren't repossessors. What they're doing is they're reenacting, quote unquote, repos that other people have done. And it's just, these things are not real. People who watch these and think that they're, whether you're talking about the Real Housewives of wherever or any of these other shows, the fact that there is a camera around these people constantly, that alone changes the reality of the situation.
And here's a little tip about the reality stuff. If you watch some of these shows, whether it's repoing, shopping, whatever the case is, you'll notice occasionally you'll see background people that have their faces blurred out. The reason why is they didn't sign a release form for one reason or another. If somebody is that pissed off that their Mercedes or their boat, whatever the case, is being repoed, I guarantee you they're not signing an authorization to say, okay, yeah, put me on TV. And at some point, because they're filmed from the start through the completion, whether they get their car back, whether they don't, their face is being shown the whole time. So this is all because I actually love some of these repo shows. They are funny. And I don't care how much they are enacted or staged, whatever the case is. These people there, they know it's coming. Just kind of think about that whenever you're watching some of this stuff.
Will do. All right, well, let's go to DVD and Blu-ray. Scotty?
All right, so this is for the releases on DVD and Blu-ray for June 19th. First, we've got Project X, which was the found footage movie about a house party that just went awry. Also, Big Miracle, which is the heartwarming tale of a whale that gets trapped in the ice, and a couple people are
ice.
and a community come to rescue this whale. Also, Wanderlust, which is Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston. And also Jeff Who Lives at Home, which is a comma/dramedy with Jason Segel. Also Seeking Justice, which actually has a pretty interesting story. I don't know if any of us saw it. That's the one where the gentleman Gets his wife's life saved and has to return the favor by offing somebody else. Pretty interesting. And also
except for it's Nick Cage.
Nick Cage, yeah. I was kind of leaving that one out.
It's a great plot if you don't mind that it's got Nick Cage.
I was leaving that out, but okay. Thanks for. Anyway, a couple TV shows also: Wilfred season 1 and Louis C.K. Those are both also available that day as well.
And I reviewed Wanderlust many episodes ago. That's actually a nice little find. So go check it out.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
All right, we'll move on to our next segment. This is the flashback section, where we talk about a DVD or Blu-ray that is a little lesser known or obscure. So one of our hosts here will bring to the table a film or television show that they'd like the rest of us to check out that they might not have heard of. This week we're going to go with Aaron, and it's his pick. So what do you got, Aaron?
Okay, I thought for my flashback this week, since it's around Father's Day, in fact, it's probably already passed, but I wanted to bring my personal favorite father-son movie, I guess, which is called Nothing in Common. It's a little 80s movie starring Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason. Tom Hanks stars as David Basner. He's an advertising executive who basically is finally getting everything he wanted in life. He's got money, he's got chicks, he's having a great old time. I said chicks because it's an 80s movie, and that's okay then. Well, then he finds out his mom and dad are getting divorced. So, of course, that causes like some severe mental instability with him because he thought his parents were fine, they'd live together forever, and now he has to deal with it. So his mom and dad are driving him crazy, but specifically his dad, Max, who is played by Jackie Gleason. And he's this old curmudgeon, just cranky old bastard, probably much like I'll be at his age.
Will be,
currently am. And he has to take care of them, and it's almost becomes like raising children because they're having this divorce. His dad is having a hard time adjusting to being alone. He's dealing with a lot of problems stemming from that. He's having to deal with his childhood, kind of reflecting on himself and why he is the way he is. It sounds like it's a really serious movie, but it's really funny as well, and really showcases Tom Hanks and how funny the guy used to be. I mean, just really, really funny movie, and really sweet and bittersweet. And it comes to, as the movie builds, it's not one of those cookie cutter cliched movies where you can see everything coming and how it's going to play out. And the sweet moments that it has, it earns every time. It's just to this day when I watch it, it just grabs me every time because he really starts to appreciate his dad, even though he still kind of resents some of the ways that he is. He understands why he is the way he is, and they come to form their own bond. And they've never had that their whole lives, so it's kind of nice to see that play out. And it's just the way the movie plays. It's a very rare, sweet father-son comedy that you don't see very often. So check that out if you've never seen it, and that's called Nothing in Common. All right. Well, now it's time for our Stump the Hoe answer. Justin, what was the question again?
All right. The question is, the original title for Alien was A, Black Star, B, The Nostromo, C, Starbeast, D, Silent Screams. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, Aaron, you and Brian both chose B, The Nostromo, while Scotty Lindsay chose C, Starbeast.
That's
the
correct.
Answer is C, Starbeast.
He
I actually knew this
too.
one.
He knew it.
I knew it when I asked that question several episodes ago.
Yeah.
Did you?
He did. Yeah. He did, but apparently I wasn't listening to him as per
Apparently,
usual.
Neither was Brian.
Apparently I didn't either.
We're here.
Oops.
To be fair, that was quite a while ago. It was like one of the very first episodes, but
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, good.
I actually knew an answer for once.
Scotty
instead of
got one
shouting.
right. That never happens.
I thought my fake ones were not bad.
No,
They were not. Nostromo makes complete sense. That's really what they should have called it.
well, and the fourth was a callback to the tagline of the original Alien too. So
Space, no one hears you scream.
Okay, well, let's go to From the Outside In, where each week we talk about a topic that's on ours or listeners' minds. This week we are talking about spoilers, because Prometheus has been such a spoilerific movie where you can read a review and somebody spoils the entire damn plot. We thought we'd talk about what is revealing too much about a movie. When you talk to friends, listen to shows like ours, or read a review, what is too far? The marketing's one thing. We're fine with that. You understand if the studio markets it, that's firmly in their hands. If they screw it up and tell you everything about a movie, that's their problem. We're talking about once it's out there, what is too much, and why are some people so obsessed with ruining the movie for everybody else? Scotty?
revealing that Michael Scofield dies at the end of a series before you've seen it is revealing too much.
Yeah, Even if it is like 8 years after the show was ended.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it matters.
Doesn't matter.
So we can never have it in common conversation until you've seen it, until you get around to it, until your wife lets you watch the television?
Yeah, sorry, Scott, you passed the what is it, the something of limitation, statute of limitations?
Yeah.
We're going to go on with Brian adjusting because you just lost all credibility.
Well, I think, because of the internet, not only is there a lot more opportunity for things to be spoiled, the assholes of the world have a much bigger venue in which to do that. Several years ago, when The Village came out, someone on the Rotten Tomatoes forums created a thread, said, "Oh, so they're just living in a village in a modern time?" Completely spoiled The Village, and that's what he intended, but he couched that in that there was also a television show on PBS at the time about a pilgrim village that people were living and working in, but it was taking place in a modern day. And so he spoiled the movie, but he used this TV show as his own way of trying to hide what he was doing or kind of turn it into a joke. But the fact of the matter is that it wasn't a joke. Even if he intended it as a joke, others who knew what that also referred to ended up spoiling it for those of us who didn't. So the internet itself creates endless opportunities for people to spoil a movie, whether they mean to do it or not. But Scotty does bring up an interesting point, though. What is the statute of limitations on spoils? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? I don't know, and I don't think we really could form a common view on what that would be.
Well, as far as a statute of limitations, I think I don't know an exact number, but a significant amount of time after the DVD or Blu-ray release of it, then you can talk about it.
Yeah, if they're remaking it, it's okay to ruin it. That's what I'm saying, Scott.
They're remaking Prison Break?
Oh, they might. They may make a new series where he lives.
Oh, so if they might make a
shit, then they'd be
reboot of
spoiling
it.
the new one, wouldn't it?
Don't ruin the end of the next series for him.
I get what Brian's saying. There should be a statute of limitation. I mean, come on. At some point, it should be okay to talk about in common.
But if you know somebody's in the middle of watching the series,
nobody knew that. Why don't we drop your? You need to get over your personal drama. This is about everybody else.
Okay, I'll be nice and give a spoiler alert.
Okay.
Bruce Willis is already dead in The Sixth Sense. Just saying. All right. And you couldn't have talked about that after it's 6 weeks after the opening, unless you're talking with somebody that has seen it also. But a couple of years later, yeah, you can.
We run into a problem though when you're able to talk about something so quickly across such a broad swath of the world. I mean, how many times has an episode ended, in one time zone, and then people get on Twitter or they get on Facebook and they, post something about how Mad Men ended, and then those of us who aren't in that time zone or who have, recorded it on our DVR and planned on watching it the next day, get it fucking spoiled because people think that, well, I saw it, therefore, if you haven't, well, then, tough titties for you. It gets worse, though, when I think that my little niece and nephew are never, ever going to get to experience the joy of discovering Vader is actually Luke's father, as it's revealed in the film, because they're going to have it ruined for them well in advance, just like every other movie that we got to see, come to fruition, to borrow Aaron's word.
That's just shitty luck. That's just bad timing.
It is, but
All due respect to your niece and nephew.
But this is unfortunately going to be an issue that every mystery presented and every cool ending is only going to be cool for the snapshot of time it's created. Part of me wishes that there was some way that those sorts of amazing revelations could be preserved, but it's not going to happen.
Well, what about before a movie? Like, for instance, I watched for the first time Insidious, the horror movie, last night. And even reading the little Netflix thing about it, it says basically a family thinks their house is haunted, so they move, only to find out that after they move their kid, it turns out their kid is actually the one that's haunted. And I'm like, isn't that giving away kind of a bit too much?
Yeah, I would agree with that particular movie. Taking away marketing, we're talking about like people on the internet, people that that write reviews once the movie comes out. Not so much marketing, because that is the studio. That's if they give away too much, that's their own fault.
Right.
I'm talking about the people that ruin it for everybody else.
I'm lucky enough to have a good circle of friends that are very conscious of that kind of thing. I mean, even on the internet, on the forum that I frequent quite regularly, there's the ability to put spoiler text, so it's there if you want to read it. But hey, if you look at it, it's your own fault, kind of thing. I mean, even talking about it, that kind of thing. I'm lucky in that respect. And the people that have ever done anything like that, I just avoid them when it comes to that. And just like you avoid reading spoiler things on the internet, you just avoid talking to those certain people about it, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm of the firm belief that if you talk about a movie, you should know if your audience has seen it or not before you start really talking about it. And then once you continue, if you realize they have not seen it, you should basically just describe, like we do on the show, what the movie's about, and then basically what you liked and what you didn't like about it. I mean, real specific, that's something you talk about with somebody that's already seen it. Or if they really don't care, it's not something they really want to see and they just want to know, I guess that's okay. But I personally, the thing that infuriates me personally as a film goer is, I like to go to the Facebook page for, like, say, Prometheus or Abraham Lincoln, or a movie I really want to see for some reason, just to kind of see what everybody's talking about and what they're looking forward to. And without fail, if you go there before you see the movie, you will see a spoiler. Somebody has seen it on the internet or seen it in a different country or however they have stolen it. They have seen it before it comes out. Or, you go on, God forbid, Saturday morning after a Friday night opening. Everybody decides that they should put exactly what the movie's about all over Facebook. And, I've actually seen somebody's status describe the ending to a movie as a surprise ending. And I just don't understand that. I don't understand it. Why would you want to ruin it for someone else?
Right.
Well, a lot of it does short-sightedness. I don't think those people maybe even realize what they're doing. I mean, I guess what I say is I'm hoping that they're not so malicious and so selfish that posting something like that is something that they're doing on purpose. I would hope that it's just purely them being short-sighted and not realizing that, hey, everyone has seen the exact same thing that I've seen, and so it's free to say. I'm a spoiler phobe. That's why I don't read a lot of reviews. I avoid websites and Facebook pages and the like for movies or TV shows because the fewer instances that I can give assholes to ruin things for me, the better. And so I try and close myself off as much from that stuff as I can. I can't close myself off from my friends and their Facebook posts, though, that my eyes just happen to glaze past as I'm looking down my list. If I see someone spoil something, though, I call them on it. Hopefully, if it was something that they didn't realize they were doing, then they'll be more conscious of it. Hopefully, in the future, we all have to do our part. Kind of like, Smokey the Bear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Justin on that one because I do the same thing. I'm a phobe about it also. I don't want to know. I want to know as little as, if there's something I really want to see, I want to know as little about it as possible. And I'm not going to go to fan sites. I'm not going to check out message boards. I'm sure as heck not going to a Facebook page and seeing what the people are saying about it. To me, you're asking for trouble for doing that. If that's a big concern, that's, man, I really don't like to get bit by dogs. You know what? I'm going to go into this dog pound with it covered in pork chops.
Wow, that's a Friday night.
It's about finding the right places to go, though. I mean, the website that I go to has
most of your Yahoo movies or
right.
I really don't spend much time on Rotten Tomatoes like you guys do, but most of the movies.com, most Empire, most of these sites that I've seen that are writing articles about a movie a few days or so before the movie comes out, they're for the most part respectful about it. They'll tell you, spoiler alert down, and then midway through it they'll say, okay, anything past here we're talking spoilers.
Right.
It's these douchebags who sign on to Facebook after they see a midnight showing on a Thursday night, and then you wake up Friday morning and you see all you see on Facebook or whatever website that you go to is that hey, Batman dies at the end of the Italian Job or something like that. So I just avoid going to places where I know there's a chance that it may be spoiled for me, and I also don't want any kind of preconceived notions by any sort of critic or what have you that may put a certain spin in my head before I even see it. So
I really want to see a Handsome Rob Batman movie now. I really do.
Hey, he'd be better than George Clooney.
That's true. A friend of mine, this is a true story, a friend of mine told me the end. He was explaining to me, I asked him, how was Usual Suspects? I just asked, how was it? Because this is back before it was a phenomenon kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he actually told me the end. I couldn't believe Kevin Spacey was Kaiser Soze. That's actually what he said for when I asked him, how was it?
I assume you're not friends with this person anymore?
I still talk to him, but I literally had to stop talking to him about current movies because he did it every single time.
Really?
I would say, how was the movie? And he would tell me the end of it.
I had a friend that I sat...
got spoiler Tourette's?
Spoiler Tourette's.
It seriously got to the point where I was infuriated, man, because that was a big one. And it wasn't the first time in 7. Thankfully, I had seen that one. But I asked him what he thought of 7. He didn't know I had seen it, and he told me the end of it.
So it was your test for him?
No, it wasn't a test. I was just trying to talk to him about a movie.
Nice.
He ruined it. Thankfully, I'd already seen it.
I had a friend that sat down with me to watch Scream for the first time, back when I had first hit VHS. Mm-hmm. Knew I'd never watched it, and just told me the ending right at the I can't believe this person was a killer.
I would punch him in the face.
Right as the opening credits are rolling. Like...
Now, why do people here's my question to you guys. Here's a question I have. Do you think, and I realize that there's a lot of snotty little internet shits out there, do you think these guys actually just get off ruining the movies for everybody else?
That's a sense of empowerment. Yeah.
I think some do.
It's a feel like I saw it before you did.
Some people just want to watch the world burn, man.
Oh, nice. Was Handsome Rob in your movie? I don't know. I mean, kind of the purpose of this topic is just because everybody, we try very hard not to spoil movies, and we don't want to spoil them for you when we talk about them, and I hope we don't. But I don't understand why people do it, and I don't think any of us really appreciate it when we see it. And there's a lot of movie critics now, when you read the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes or wherever it is you go for your movie reviews, hopefully it's Hollywood Outcast, but wherever you go, Hollywood Outsider, wherever you go for movie reviews, a lot of critics nowadays will actually spoil the plot to films. And when did that start? When did actual legitimate critics start ruining movies for people?
Who's reading those and consistently reading those?
Many people, because I think it's because a lot of the internet culture has become so. I want to know everything in the world about this movie before I go see it, and then because they don't like surprise anymore, so the critics just started doing it because otherwise maybe they weren't being read. I mean, that's my question to you guys.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I personally don't understand. I understand that the desire to know as much as I possibly can about a movie, but I try to, I guess, suppress that to a certain extent because I don't want to see all of the behind the on-set photos of somebody's costume and this set, and all of a sudden, hey, there's a picture of this guy that he wasn't mentioned before as far as being in a movie. I don't want to see all that because I've seen pictures of Bane and Catwoman on set. And to me, they look kind of bad personally. Mm-hmm. But you see them in the screen, the edited version with all the effects, the filters, all that stuff, and they look great. I don't understand why a lot of people say, hey, I've got to go find out all I can. I need to know every detail I possibly can about the plot, the set, all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it.
I think the last thing I would have to say on this topic is, not to tug each other's junk on this or anything, but I think we do a pretty good job here on this show of not spoiling things. And if we want to discuss the spoiler aspects of something, we save that to the end of the show or we create an episode about it. Nothing infuriates me more when I'm listening to a podcast and they're like, all right, yeah, so I saw Prometheus the other day and spoiler alert, and then they just jump right into the spoil. Yeah. It's like, you know what, fucker, first off, give me more than a half a second to reach for a button to pause what I'm listening to. Second, if you're going to spoil something, at least be kind enough to say for the next minute, fast forward. That way, it's not this open-ended thing where I'm like, all right, 2 minutes in, all right, let me see where they're at now, and then boom, I'm hit with something. Be considerate when you're doing something like a podcast, or if you're doing a written review. There are ways to spoiler cover those things to where those who want to know can know. Those who don't aren't forced into it. Reviews online, podcasts, all these things are edited. They're created after the fact and put together. There are ways of making sure you don't ruin the experience for other people. Those who choose not to do it, I will stop listening to your podcast. I will not read your reviews. Be considerate. Stop being assholes. I'm done. Dropping the mic.
I think that's a good way to end it. Dun-dun-dun. If you guys want to add anything more to that hot button topic, send us an email to feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Right now, we are going to go into, kind of closing the show, but first we have an email to read. Justin McCumber is going to act as my lawyer today because this email we received is essentially asking us to drink a big gulp of Shut the Fuck Up about a certain juggernaut film that we talked about ad nauseum in recent months.
Let me get my briefs out. Hold on.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
All right.
Oh,
your Spider-Man briefs?
Put your briefs on.
And, the movie we're trying to avoid is not Ghost Rider 2, so I'm sure you can figure out what it is. So therefore, Mr. McCumber, if you would please feel free to stop me if I cross any lines. Is that fair?
I will do so.
Okay. So here is the email. Hey guys, love the podcast. We love you too. Just wanted to drop you a line to give a little constructive criticism. Okay, we get it. You think that
Name redacted
is the second coming of Jesus Christ. We have to hear that you guys are obsessed with it every week. Let's move on. Don't get me wrong, I love.
Name redacted.
But for me, I am over the repetitious conversations of how freaking awesome that movie was. It really wasn't good enough to warrant as many discussions as you are giving it. You're wrong.
Wrong.
Please keep up the awesome work. We just want to hear what you think about other movies. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Ashley. We will have you know that we have not mentioned
Name redacted.
nor
Name redacted.
this entire episode. So thanks for listening and keep on loving the show just as we love.
Name redacted.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we do love you, Ashley.
We do. Thank you very much.
That was a fun letter.
That was a fun letter. Thank you very much. And next week we are going to have reviews of Rock of Ages and That's My Boy, because I am going to go see That's My Boy, and I'm sure there's a couple of guitar heads in the audience that are going to go see Rock of Ages. So you can always find us at thehollywoodoutsider.com. That's our website. That was my version of you and Scotty.
Maybe Scotty and I could FaceTime as we're watching it in our
That'd be
separate
awesome.
theaters.
We should do that.
That would be fantastic. You can always make sure to stay through the credits for outtakes. We usually have a few outtakes at the end. TheHollywoodOutsider.com is our website. Facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider is our Facebook page. You can email us at feedback@TheHollywoodOutsider.com. Please tell your friends. Subscribe on iTunes. Please subscribe. Zune, Google Reader. Listen on your Stitcher Radio app and give us a thumbs up if you do, or any plain old RSS feed. I want to thank each of the podcasters. Brian Williams is available on Twitter at BrianWMS. Thanks, B.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Justin McCumber, host of Dead Robot Society. It's a weekly podcast for aspiring writers, available at deadrobotsociety.com. Thanks, Justin.
It's always a pleasure, man.
Thank you. And
happy birthday.
Aw, thank you. And thanks again for the present, guys. I really appreciate it. And his Haywire, which if you guys want to buy it and send it to me for my birthday, is available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, or for your Kindle or Nook. Scott Clark, who's the host of the Official Thread podcast, which had two new episodes in the last week. It's a monthly podcast for gamers, available on iTunes and Stitcher and at Official Thread. Thanks, Scotty.
Thanks for having me, man. And be sure to check out last week. We did have a E3 topic discussion for the entire episode. It's awesome.
Yeah, so all the movie geeks out there that have no idea what E3 is, check that out. Okay, and remember that the next time you go to a theater, buy popcorn.
Decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. You're never to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home.
thing I'm worried about is when I finally get seriously hurt, she's going to put me down the first chance she gets.
We would back her up on that.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk her out of that one.
Fuck you.
He had a good run. Brian's, he's easy going. He's like that good old trusty sheepdog.
Dude, this is where you jump in, Brian. Like, did you just fucking call me a sheepdog?
Saying he thought the Oxford comma was stupid.
I didn't say
see
it like
why
that.
people
I
used it,
was very
and
nice.
It was just dumb.
I was very nice about it, jackass. I did not say that.
It just rode up my ass.
You were waiting for the clip too. I could tell.
I was just waiting for something. I didn't expect the happy birthday clip.
It took an extra second or two to load up than I anticipated.
I was like, where the hell is it?
Brian was probably like, shit, play.
I'm going, for God's sakes, don't say anything.
The best part is like seriously 5 minutes before we recorded. I swear to God, Aaron's like, any clips? I'm fucking editing them out of here. I'm proud of myself for getting that fucker in here without you knowing.
I had no idea. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Shit, we're the one who paid for it. Is he getting all a little weepy-eyed? Is it getting dusty in there, Scotty?
Shut up.
I thought that was just because my pants were off. Seriously.
This is from all three of you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Great. Now I can't make fun of Scott, call Justin an asshole, or call Brian a hillbilly all day long.
Can I just get Scott to say something to kind of piss me off now? Because so far we're 2 for 3, and I just kind of want to make it a clean sweep here.
Hey, Brian, they used to call them jumpolines until your mom jumped on one back in the 80s.
All right, we're there.